Day here. Welcome back to part 2 of the Pirate Grenade tutorial. If you missed part 1, be sure to go check it out. So what we're going to be doing in part 2 is manually UV unwrapping the grenade so we can bring it over into Substance Painter and start getting things textured. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to select the grenade. We're going to go into Edge Mode, zoom in here. We want to select anything that kind of has the 90-degree bend to it. If you just follow along, I'm going to select everything that needs to be selected. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll Alt-click here. Then from here on out, we're going to be Shift-Alt clicking. That way we can select multiple edges. So we're going to Shift-Alt click this edge here, this edge here, this one. Come underneath. We want to select this edge and then this edge here. We have those edges. The sneaky little edge here, select it, and this last one right here. Perfect. So we've got all those selected. You want to right click, mark seam. They should turn reddish orange color. Then we want to select this one by alt clicking, right click, mark seam. That's going to get the grenade there. And then we do want to go ahead and select the fuse. I like to go on the back side of the fuse here and select this line here. We'll mark a seam. Select this edge here. Not that one, sorry. This edge here, we'll mark seam, and then we're going to kind of go into the grenade, come down to the bottom, and we'll add a loop cut here, bring it down to find that edge, and select that one with Alt, mark seam. Perfect. So we have everything there. What you want to do at this point is go back to object mode, Control A over the modifier to apply it. It's going to look a little bit thicker, a little bit more dense. So we press A to select everything. You want to press A, select everything, press U, unwrap. Depending on your system, since there is a lot of subdivision on it, it could take a little bit of time to unwrap. Mine's done. Then what we want to do is go to the UV editor and check and make sure our unwrapped nicely, which it did. Now, one thing that I like to do is you don't have to. I have UV Pack Master too. It's a paid add-on. It's just part of my workflow. I use it regularly, so I'm going to use it here. Like I said, though, you don't have to. I press A to select everything, and then I pack it. This is going to pack everything nicely into the UV, and we're good to go. So from there, what we want to do is go back to object mode, assign a material to it. In this case, I'm going to call it grenade, and press enter. And then we'll go down to export. I like to use OBJs. You can also use FBX. It's just personal preference. I prefer using OBJs. I've already exported this once before. I'm going to go ahead and delete these two here. Make sure you have OBJ objects and then selection only selected. And then we are going to export it. In my instance, I called it Pirate Grenade Tutorial. It'll take it just a second to export. And then from there, we're good to go. You want to go ahead and bring up Substance Painter. We'll let Substance Painter pull up here. Boom. Once Substance Painter is open, you want to go File, New. Go ahead and set your resolution to 4096, which is 4K. Make sure the template is PBR Metallic Roughness by algorithmic. Bleh. And then go ahead and find your grenade. In this case, press OK. That'll bring it in. Yours may, by default, show up in 3D, 2D view. We don't need this right now, if that's the case. Keep in mind, you can press Alt when over the 2D version and middle mouse click to drag it around. You can also press Alt and the middle mouse button to pan around, and then Alt and left click. However, if you need a kind of basic rundown of Substance Painter, Stellar Tech Industries has a great video tutorial that breaks down the basics and goes a little bit more into detail. This is assuming that you already have some experience in Substance Painter. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and switch over to the 3D only view. And then I'm going to go to my texture set settings, go down to Bake Mesh Maps. I uncheck ID because I'm not using a material ID, and I'm not using anything that requires a subsurface scatter or anything like that. So I'm going to personally uncheck thickness. I don't need the map. I'm going to change this resolution to 4096 or 4K. Check Use Low Poly Mesh as High Poly. And then I'm going to uncheck Average Normals and change the subsampling to 4x4. And then we are going to go ahead and click Bake Selected Textures. This is going to go through, bake everything out. Depending on the speed of your system, It's going to depend on how quickly this part bakes out. So it's only going to take just a second here. Perfect, and that bake is all done. Go ahead and close these. So what we're going to do first is switch over to Smart Materials here. Scroll all the way down. I'm going to be using the materials that come with Substance Painter, so there's not any kind of third party or anything here. I'm going to click and drag it on. You're going to see that it colors the entire grenade. Don't worry though, we're going to fix that. Right click on the plastic grainy soft, and then we are going to add a black mask. Once that black mask is added, you are going to then go to the polyfill, and under polyfill you want to select the mesh fill object, click on it, and then we can switch back. You're going to see that that paints just their grenade. It leaves the wooden plug and the fuse alone. So what we will do at that point is go ahead and go down here. We're going to disable the base because we don't need the base. We just want the bumps from the grain. We don't want the, or from the greeny plastic. We don't want the color. Go ahead and collapse that back. I'm going to click back on this layer, and then I'm going to add a steel gun painted to this, and we will drag it down underneath here. So now you have the steel gun painted, and you've got that. Same thing we want to do is we want to right click here. We want to copy this mask, right click on this steel gun painted, and add a black mask, and then right click on that black mask and click paste into mask. That way we make sure that we're just painting the grenade itself and not the wooden plug or the fuse. Then we want to select the plastic grainy soft. We want to click on the roughness variations layer. We want to right click on it, scroll down a little bit to where the balance is, and turn this balance up just a little bit to take a little bit of that shine away. It's also going to make this look a little more cast irony. So it gives us a little bit more of that look. Perfect. So we're done with the base part of the grenade. Now we want to move on to the wooden cork. So it's going to be kind of the same process. What we want to do is we want to take the wood ship whole old. We're going to drag it on. Same thing as before. It's going to paint the entire grenade. We're going to follow the same process. So once it loads it in, we're going to go ahead and add a black mask. Click on that black mask, go to polyfill, click on mesh fill, click on just the wooden stopper, and then we've got the wooden stopper painted, just like so. So we're done with the wooden stopper for now. Then what we want to do is go to the materials tab, and then under materials, you want to find fabric soft denim. We're going to drag that onto the fuse. It's going to paint the entire grenade again. Just right click on it, add that black mask again. On the black mask, go to polyfill, and then go to mesh fill. Click here, switch back to the paint mode. So from here, it doesn't look all that convincing. It's got the kind of the right spin to it, everything like that. You can also see the seam here. So there's a couple of ways that we can go about fixing that. What we're going to do is we're going to click on this layer. We're going to switch the projection to triplanar, and then we're going to play with the scale here a little bit to get it looking like we want. And we want to rotate the rope so we get that same kind of spin like we had before. And then you want to adjust the hardness here to kind of get rid of the seam that's going on. We'll change the rotation a little bit more here. And then there's a couple more things that you can do. You can kind of adjust the scaling here to make that look a little bit finer. And then we'll go to the technical parameters. Or sorry, not technical parameters. We want to go to the 3D projection settings. Then from here, we kind of want to play with these offsets a little bit so we can get the rope to line up just a little bit more. And we're going to kind of clean this up just a little bit here. Perfect. So we're getting a little bit better line up on the rope texture. And then what I like to do on the fabric is I want to go in, I want to right click on it. And then the nice thing about this fabric texture is it has a denim color set. So you whiten that up just a little bit so it gives you more of that kind of faded rope. And that gives us the fuse. So far we have the base grenade, we have the wooden plug here, and then we have the fuse itself. So the end, to kind of get that burnt material looking that I had, what you want to do in that particular instance is we are going to go back to our smart materials. And then we want to go, there should be a burn. It's not under smart materials. I think it's under just materials. What is it? Charcoal, maybe? I could type. Cannot type today. Yeah, there we go. So we want this charcoal material. So what we'll do is we're going to drag out this charcoal material, same way as we did before. Let it load in. Perfect. And then we're going to add that black mask to it. And then taking a soft brush under our brushes, so we'll do just a basic soft. We're going to go ahead and come in here and we're going to paint the end here, just to kind of give it that little burnt look along the edges of the rope. So. Perfect, just like that. Now we've got kind of that tinted burnt rope, like so. Now for the fun part. So there's a couple of options that you have. For me, obviously you want to use like whatever logo you have or anything. What I like to do is I'll add a fill layer. Same way as before, we want to go ahead and add a black mask to that fill layer. Same thing, you can paint and draw on it. Once I have that fill layer selected, I like to hold down Alt and Shift and then click and drag so I can go into this orthographic view, like so, and then just make sure that we're here in orthographic. Perfect, so now we're straight on with the side of the grenade. Then I will click here, and I will turn off color. Actually, I'll leave color on this one. We'll turn off roughness, metal. We'll leave normal and height. We want to drag the height down to about a -0.4. Then click back on our mask. Scroll down here. And then under Stencil, you'll notice I have a couple of logos here. So this is the one that I used in the tutorial. I brought this in like so. Came in close. And then all you do with a fairly large size brush is just paint it on. And then you can just click on the eraser to kind of bring it over. So you notice this kind of warps it out a little bit. I wanted to show you this, that way you can kind of get an idea of what it may look like if you try to paint it on directly like that. So there's a couple of other options that you can do. You can take and go to just the alpha, and then you can click on your logo, scale up the brush, and then once you have the brush selected, sorry, we need to go into here, alpha, click on the brush here. So once you have it selected here, you can kind of do the same thing. You apply it, it looks kind of warped and distorted. What you do is you'll come up here to this, you'll right click, and then alignment, you want to change it to UV. And then you'll hold down Control and rotate it, get it kind of straight. And now whenever you paint it on, it's going to match the UV curvature, and it'll actually curve without the warping, so you get the actual curve to the grenade. And then that's pretty much it. You're all set there. Once you have that, you want to go to Export Textures. Make sure it's set to PNG. I like to, just for safety measures, I like to change it manually to 4096. And then we're all set there. Then you'll go to Export, or not Export, sorry. So to cancel the export, you want to go to your settings, click here. You want to create a folder for organization purposes. I'm going to call this one tutorial made. Click save, and then I'm going to select that folder. Then you want to click export. All right, so we've got that. We're going to go ahead and switch back to Blender. Once we're back in Blender, you want to go ahead and bring up your shader editor. Click on your principled BSDF. This will also work in Eevee. I'll show you both kind of previews to show you what it looks like. You want to click on your principled BSDF, Control, Shift, and T, and then go to your, in this case, we'll go, come on. Wait on Blender to load here. I'm going to go ahead and close our grenade here, just so the system isn't bogged down by everything. There we go. All right, so we'll go ahead and go to where my textures are. I'm going to go to Tutorial Nade, and then you just want to select everything that's here. This is going to select all your normal maps. Oh, that's my bad. I have things moved. So in my instance, I have to do this. You do not. I need to uncheck relative path and then select that. And that's going to bring everything in like so. And it's already going to connect everything up for you. Now, there are a couple of things to notice. You may notice that even though we set that height to negative, and it should be indenting into the grenade, that it is not indenting into the grenade. So we need to fix that. All you need to do is come down here. We'll select these nodes and drag them over. You're going to want to Shift A and then go to Converter. You want to separate your RGBs out. Press Shift A, go to Converter, and then Combine RGB. Then in between those, you want to add a color invert right here. You're going to drag the green into the left side of this invert color, drag the color out to green, then drag the blue, connect it normally. And what you'll notice is that's going to go in and actually fix those inverted normals. So things are now indented again the way that they should be. So the nice thing is, if we go in and we pull everything in, I'm currently set to cycles. I want to go to Eevee. So now that we're in Eevee, you've got that perfect look to it. We can go ahead and come in here, brighten up that texture, and everything will look good. Looks like the only thing that we're having an issue with for some reason is my metallic data. There we go. I got that sorted out. So you're all set. All right, guys. Once again, this has been This Modern Day. I hope that you've had a good time with this tutorial. I hope you've learned something. Until next time, have a good one.